interesting. I mean,
it is definitely wild.
Yeah. So, like in your mind's eye, when you saw that, I always wonder about what it takes because I go through that, but on a smaller scale with fabrication. Like in my mind's eye, I see something, but to actually cut. Oh wow! Look at that. Yeah, with 4 lights. That's cool. Oh, that is cool looking. Nice. Very good. Very good. How many? How much area do you have in there? And even have a license plate on it. That's cool.
Yeah, the license plate is on the front. I got that on Amazon. Just says HHR trailer.
Yeah.
So from inside to inside, I've got most of the interior trim put back in the car. Got a nice headliner setup going on in there. From inside hatch to inside hatch, I've got 7'6".
Okay, that's a pretty good space.
Yeah. I relocated the e-brake. I moved that 3 inches forward. So the e-brake is still functional for the trailer, so I don't necessarily need wheel chocks. And I moved it forward just so that the button was as close to that front hatch as I could get it.
Yeah.
So right now,
what do you typically haul in the trailer?
So I've got 3 kids, right?
Okay.
My intention is not to haul my kids in it, but right, like it's something that's going to be a lot of fun to have with at a car show that my kids can climb around in. Right, like the trailer is also going to be on air ride, so the trailer is going to be bagged. My intention is to get matching wheels for the trailer to match the wheels on the car.
Sure.
I have 2 sets of wheels, so I have 2 sets of Enki EK M3s.
Okay.
I have 1 set of Enki PFO 1s. I want another set of those to match to go on the trailer.
How hard are they to find? Are those vintage wheels or are they
a discontinued wheel and an incredibly odd bolt pattern? So it's a 5x110 bolt pattern.
It's a what was it? What's the pattern?
5x110. So
5x110. Okay. I had a similar situation. I have a Fiat Spider, little 2-seater convertible, and it's got a 4x98 millimeter bolt pattern. So believe it or not, the only cars with that pattern would be other Fiats of that vintage, Yugos, like who the fuck wants a Yugo wheel on anything, and a Maserati, because like they're cousin cars, right? So I actually have a set of Maserati bi-turbo wheels on my car that I got used, and they're super light. I mean, it's like a super light alloy. They used a hardened metal insert for the lugs so that they don't go all up the aluminum. Really well made wheels, and I got them pretty cheap. But yeah, of all things, they're from Maserati because again, I was looking at Panasports and all sorts of other wheels, and they're remaking some of them now, but they get a lot of money. Oh man, they're expensive. So yeah, I sympathize you.
How do I flip my screen around? My screen is backwards. How do you do that?
Yeah, there is let me see here. If I go, there is a thing to do that. I've seen that in the past. Spotlight layout? No. You know what? I haven't seen that thing in so long. I don't remember. Maybe it's in settings here at the bottom. Show resolution, display information, shift video. No. Automatically add. No. It's not under settings. General camera. Maybe under the camera setting. If you open settings at the bottom of the screen,
I got it. That
is over to camera.
Me. That is all me.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. That's
awesome.
it. So, yeah. All right. You know what? I see some of the boys here. So
The boys are here.
Let's.
Keith, what's up, man?
What's up, Aaron?
What's going on, dude?
Oh, there's Jim.
Hello, y'all.
And there's Brian.
Guys.
Aaron's the only other guy that likes HHRs.
Well, that's okay. He's probably the only other guy that likes you.
That's probably true too.
Yeah, so that's okay. So Keith, how did you guys meet and get together?
Just on the HHR boards, and then I saw all the stuff he was doing.
Okay.
And I have similar. I did similar things. Like my HHR is just it's completely stock motor wise, put an air intake on it. That's about it. And I lowered it, but engine wise, and then I lowered it, put Cobalt SS wheels. I'm not going as crazy as Aaron, but that used to be my daily driver just to cruise around. And you guys know I have a ton of other cars to mess with, so.
Sure. So
But
what'll it take for you to do something a little crazy like that?
Get rid of a whole bunch of other stuff and get a bunch of projects off my plate.
Okay, well that's a good answer.
I don't suggest anybody goes balls deep into HHR project, right? Like the ROI on an HHR project is minimal to none.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Where's the fun in that?
So yeah, I was going to say we got Justin here from American Gas, or Hot Rod Shop, and Justin, you guys did that PT Cruiser.
I can tell you all about dumping money into cars that aren't worth nothing.
So yeah, tell us, talk to us.
Yeah, that one kind of the same deal. We get a lot of people asking about HHRs, but this was the first time someone asked us about a PT Cruiser. And this elderly couple, I think the lady that owned the car was 72, and she bought it brand new, loved it, but the car was getting to the point where had high miles, had some problems. She didn't want to get rid of it. So her and her husband decided, well, we're going to do something with it. They got a hold of us, and we threw around some ideas and decided, well, let's turn this PT Cruiser into the V8 hot rod that Chrysler should have done.
Right.
So yeah, we pulled it all apart, converted it to rear-wheel drive, 5.7 Hemi, you name it.
Yeah.
And a PT Cruiser.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind having a rear drive HHR panel, and people do it all the time. I think that would be kind of neat. Just put some LS motor in and just drive it around.
Are they all-wheel drive?
No,
the HHR's all-wheel drive or just front wheel drive?
It's front.
What rear ends do they use, Keith?
What for when they can make them rear drive? Whatever who knows? Whatever. You can put whatever, because you basically have to build a whole chassis.
I figured you were speaking
from
some learned experience.
I've seen some for sale. They put like 4 9-inches in them or something.
I should have known better.
That's what we did.
Yeah, normal hot rod stuff, right?
I should be bash Keith night, I think. Just got a funny feeling.
Now, we're not here to hurt anybody's feelings now.
Listen,
don't worry, you're not going to hurt my feelings.
Listen, Cupcake, if your feelings get hurt, you go rub it somewhere. Go rub them somewhere. Make them feel better, because this ain't the place for that kind of talk, all right?
Yeah, you don't need to tell me anything.
You're the
I'm ready.
Listen, you're the master of mayhem. You've got the sergeant at arms band.
I've had a difficult week. I'm ready to fight.
Brian's just waiting for that little live button to go blank. That's all he's waiting for.
So if we don't do anything here, we have fun, you know?
Yeah. I had a question for Aaron. So you took the one on the rally. Which HHR was that?
It's basically the one that it's the black one with the gold scallops and the gold wheels on it. So that is the car that I won the rally in. That we won the rally in.
Nice.
Nice, Vince.
Right, like it's just a really dependable car. I say it's a dependable car, and the first time that we won the rally, we broke down mid-rally, pulled over, got the car fixed, got back on the road, and still finished the rally and managed to squeeze out first place.
What type of is that? Like a typical road rally where you have times and destinations and things like that, or is it something different?
It was a mini road rally, right? Like it was we crossed over that year. The first year we won, we crossed over the Mississippi River, I believe, 2 times or something like that. Just back and forth, running up along the state line.
But it was like with supercars and stuff, right? Like Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and stuff.
It definitely started that way, right? The first year we ran in the rally, there was 75 cars, everything from Lamborghinis to Ferraris to like GT40s, right? Like there was just a list of cars. That was 4 states, I believe. We crossed into 4 states on that rally. 75 cars. We finished in 24th place, and that was my first time driving in a rally. Same co-pilot every year. The first year we did the rally, we brought a British friend of ours who was also into HHRs, but he was a photographer, So we're and in the rally we could pay to have a third person in the car. So whether it was for navigation, entertainment, whatever, right? Like so we paid for that third person. He was supposed to be taking pictures and like documenting the whole thing. My co-pilot got some kind of fucking food poisoning the night before, and he was absolutely down and out, right? Like he's lucky we didn't leave him at the second checkpoint. Absolutely worthless in the passenger seat. So he ended up getting into the back seat, throwing up in the car in a to-go cereal container for the next 6 or 7 hours, while my British friend, who was then yelling the instructions to me with a British accent, right? I couldn't understand half of what he was saying, right? We finished 24th in that rally.
That's pretty good.
Came back the next year, finished in 18th place. I forget how many cars there were. Every year there's been fewer and fewer cars. So 75 cars the first year, we came in 24th place. We came back, we came in 18th place. Came back our third year, we came in 10th place. Our fourth year, we came back and finished in first place. The same year that we broke down in the rally. It was a really, really good story, right? Like,
yeah,
you know, I mean, it was at the end of the day, it was me and my two best friends in a $3,500 buy one, get one free HHR SS, right? Neither of them were running when I got both of them. This car didn't have a front bumper on it, right? Like, got the car up and running. And what happened in the car, I blew a charge pipe. So I blew a charge pipe on my, right off the intercooler, and it was a connection that I couldn't see looking down into the car. So there was nothing we could do about it. We didn't see it at the time. You know, we're looking to finish the rally. So we just disconnected the mass airflow sensor and basically drove a non-turbo, slower than dog piss HHR.
Slower than my car. Yeah.
We were just able to simply make times.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, you know,
what's that?
That's the beauty of a rally that a lot of people don't understand. It's not a race. It's a timed. You have to do it in a certain amount of time.
It's a points-based rally, and your points are based on.
And that's why you could be in a Maserati, or, you know, I did a bunch of them in my Fiat, but my first Fiat that I had, it doesn't matter what you're driving. You can do it in a freaking Volkswagen Bug. It doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, we came in there with this $3,500 car up against some pretty big hitters, and you know, there was a lot of debate the first year that we won. You know, there was, you know, and I'm kind of like the type of guy where it's like, all right, well, you know, if you have doubts about the first time we did it, we'll come back and we'll do it again.
Yeah. You know, so let me share with you my best rally story, because I've adopted this mantra in my whole life, and my kids have looked at me and said, "Dad, you know, how'd you do that?" Like, well, I'll tell you why. So we're doing a road rally, and I'd done it a couple of years already. I had my best friend from a motorcycle shop as my co-pilot and navigator, and it just happened to be a rainy day. So we're in this parking lot, a couple hundred cars in the rain. They give the drivers meeting. Everybody wants to get going, and there's guys there with like T-buckets and dune buggies and cars with no roofs, and they're like, they are getting soaking wet. So, I mean, I have a convertible, and it's going to leak anyway, but at least we stayed predominantly dry. So we're in this pack of cars, and there should have been somebody at the end letting people go in staged times, kind of in groups. And they weren't even coming out to do it. So we were on our own pretty much. And, just bounced the pill. All right. And it was like kind of uncontrolled chaos. Like, everybody at the mall coming down together to get out one driveway. So my friend says to me, "Hold on." I went this way. He says, "Hold on." He says, "I'll tell you what." He goes, "Let me get my poncho." He goes, "You know, just follow the group up." He goes, watch me for cues, and we're gonna go." I'm like, "Okay, went that way." So he's ferrying people out. He's moving people out of the parking lot. And as he sees me getting closer, he's like moving that car, then he's moving me. Another car moving me. So he's slowly moving me quicker to the front. I get up to where he is. He jumps in the car. He says, "Hit it. Let's get out of here." I'm like, "Okay." Boom. I said, "What the hell just happened?" He said, "Well, that's the rule." He goes, "Nobody was in charge, so take charge." He says, "Everybody followed my lead, right? They all did what I said." I was like, "You're absolutely right." So, I've done that for years. And when I do that, my kid's like, "Dad, what are you doing that for?" I said, "Well, nobody was in charge, so I was." And it was a great lesson. It's my best rally story. So, a lot of fun.
Yeah, when we came back the second year, it was a lot of that too, right? Like, it was my two best friends, and at that point it was kind of, we felt very confident in how we'd been doing the rally, right? Like, they created a game, and we figured out exactly how to play the game, what to do, and by all means, to their credit, they took all liability out of themselves by just creating this point system, and they intentionally created some checkpoints that shouldn't have been attainable.
Oh yeah,
right. Like, there were a photo bonus that you had to drive past the checkpoint and then come back to actually make that checkpoint. So it was,
I remember in one of these rallies, there was a checkpoint it was like you had to go to look for the Guarino, then you turn right. That's my last name. I'm like, who's fucking with me? Like, what the hell? I said, I know some of the guys. I mean, I don't know intimately who was doing this, but I said somebody had to be screwing around. I wonder if they did that with everybody, put their own name. But no, there happened to be a law office out there with the same name on the sign. It was a road sign. It was a building sign, but it had me guessing. I was like, oh man, this is where we get screwed. But no, it was actually an easy one. So yeah, you can have a lot of fun. But,
so how many do you have of the HHRs? I mean, you said you had a handful. You had 27 or 19 or all 50 that were ever made or whatever. But how many do you have left? I scrolled through your Instagram, and are you, the one that you were talking about? Where was that? The silver one? It was a silver one that looks like a panel truck.
Okay, so the silver panel, that was my very first HHR. That was HHR number 1. I've had 12. Currently, at the moment, I have the black one with the gold stripes that's on Air Ride, full bolt-on car, big brakes, 23 pounds of boost in that car. So I have that one. I have my GMC Hurricane, which is the 2009 Panel SS. I have the half car trailer, so that's 2.5. And then me and a buddy of mine, Joe Hutchcraft, we actually bought back a car that I previously sold. So we bought that. I don't know if I can count the same car as number 13.
So wait a minute. You just back up a bit. Joe Hutchcraft is with Aaron Hunzinger. Those names are like too unique to really be in the same place at the same time, let alone a road rally.
So it sounds like you have like 3 or 4.
So so the one that you bought, the one that you bought with your buddy stays at his house because the wife said no more, or do you have actually access to it?
It's actually at his house. Both of our wives are very accepting of all of this absolute nonsense. Good question, good point, right?
I got no. Dude,
is he a anybody else friend? And it's just a storage unit? I mean, I'm just joking.
That's a good idea.
Don't listen to me.
So Aaron, does anybody else drive the panel HHR?
So the panel,
it's just a pain in the ass.
The GMC Hurricane V2 has been in my garage on blocks, getting this. It's had no suspension in it for going on 2.5 years now.
Right. But you've had the other panel, the silver one, right?
I sold the silver one a long time ago. I sold that.
Did anybody else drive it? And then they complain about it. Like, I don't want to drive this.
Oh,
thing?
my wife hated it. My wife doesn't
Okay,
like
good.
any of my
All right.
HHRs, right?
Yeah,
Like,
we're on
don't
the
get,
same page.
don't
Then.
get me
All
wrong,
right.
right? Like, of the 12 that I've owned, I've owned 2 or 3 automatics. The one that we just bought back is an automatic. Right? Like, and the first automatic that I bought thinking that my wife would want to drive it, you know, to get groceries or whatever. She's like, not a chance in hell. She's like, I'm not driving that piece of shit.
Well, the problem that my wife has, and sometimes I have it, because the panel, you can't see crap. You have this tiny window.
Yes.
There's so many blind spots.
Yeah, no, it is definitely a very unique vehicle, right? It's got a very claustrophobic feel.
Yeah, and when I first got it, I almost nailed into someone on the right side like 2 times. I'm like, oh, let me get over. I hear a horn go. I'm like, oh, sorry.
If you don't have blind spot mirrors on your panel HHR, right? Like you're a
I don't.
That kind of sounds like driving my FJ Cruiser. It's the same thing. I got my A pills. I've lost people in my A pills.
Oh, I've done that too. Yeah.
That's how big they are, and in the back, it's a terrible blind spot. But
The HHR is a great car. You pull up to a stoplight and you can't see the stoplight. You go, oh shoot.
That too, because I was very right. I feel like I'm in a 55
window's so
Nomad
short.
because the roof is so low. I got to be about 10 feet back to see the light. Same thing.
Yeah.
You got to find one of those ancient things they put it on the mirror that goes in the dash and the old cars to look up.
It's a Lexan. It's kind of like a half, like an arc shape. I have one of those for 55 Chevy. Yep. Yeah.
Right.
I was thinking about putting on the dash.
Right.
I had an HHR panel as a company car from 2008 to 2011. I thought it was cool, but the other guys with them hated them.
Right?
I show up with somebody, and a guy looks at me, and he looks at the HHR, and he's like, how do you drive that with those blind spots?
Yeah.
I tell him very carefully, you learn how to use those blind spot mirrors.
Yeah, I mean,
hey guys, I'm gonna jump in for a minute.
You know,
Hey, witness protection? You all right?
Yeah, I mean, we're.
Okay?
I was about to say, I'm in witness protection because I had to rob the place in here. Actually, they robbed me, so I'm kind of.
Looks like they cut off your electricity.
Trying to get my pants back on.
Wow.
Hey, so listen, I'm gonna jump off, man. I appreciate you, Aaron, jumping on, and I'll get with you sometime this week. I'm gonna jump off now because I'm out in the dark, and appreciate everybody.
You asking me to come on,
and I'll see you guys next week.
All right, good luck, Lewis.
Yeah.
All right, later.
Charge your cell phone.
So the other thing, because mine is a 2LT, right? So it's got the 2.4 automatic, and I did the ZZP big brake front kit. So it's like 13-inch something rotors in the front. It dogs slow now, and I can't even spin the tires. It used to spin the tires a little bit.
It's a big difference in rotating mass, right? Like it's a huge.
It stops really well. Yeah.
Yeah, it stops well, right? But at the same time, right? Like, you know, that was so for my panel build for the GMC Hurricane V2. I am very much debating putting on the 14.5-inch big brake kit that I have on my SS right now, just simply because of the weight difference in the rotating mass. You know, the stock Brembos in the G85 HHR are damn good, right? Like, it's a damn good brake setup.
So, what is comparable today for parts for that?
Cobalt SS. That's about it. The transmission that I'm putting into the V2 is the Buick F40 6-speed, which is comparable to the Saab F40 6-speed as well.
What does that come out of?
Mine came out of, was it a Buick Regal? Like the all-wheel drive, or I guess it wouldn't be the all-wheel drive, but it would be like the Buick Regal Turbo with the LHU or.
Oh, okay.
Hey Keith, you want
So
a tip?
is there problems finding parts, or are there just nobody wants them, so there's enough in the junkyard?
No, so a lot of
many.
As far as the performance parts, right? Like there's a handful of really good companies out there that you know have their niche in the market. You know, and of the 12 that I've owned, right, like I've acquired all of the performance parts that I'll need to build any of the cars that I plan on building. Those parts that I don't have, I know who to call for what. But a lot of times, to be completely honest with you, that's kind of the thing, right? Like, it's the parts that I've made for my cars that has made my cars stand out. Right? Like, I built a fiberglass spoiler just because I didn't like the stock SS spoiler. Thought it looked good. Drove out to Tail of the Dragon, drove back, came back, and found that it was cracked. Right, so that was my first time ever attempting fiberglass. So I was like, well, obviously my skills at doing fiberglass are lacking, right? But I feel like I'm a pretty good welder. So I made a second spoiler, and I made this one out of steel. And, you know, it's fairly lightweight considering how big it is, but it comes off the roof of the car 15 inches. And, right, like, it sounds drastic, and visually it is drastic, but, right, like, I kept the body lines all true with the car. Right? Like, I put a roll pan on it, so I took the stock bumper off, and I shaved the hatch, built this spoiler. I built my hood. I took a GMC Yukon Denali cowl hood that we found in the junkyard. I cut that cowl hood section off, and then I shortened it 8 inches and molded that, welded that into an HHR hood, cut the underside out of it. Right, it's fully functional. I relocated my boost gauge into the cowl, so that's kind of center mass driving down the road. My boost gauge is centered in the cowl. So that's pretty cool. That's one of my favorite little details of the car.
Well, I could pass this on to you, and for what it's worth, because a friend of mine told me this many years ago. I was building a custom Harley. It was one of the many iterations of the bike, and I made some custom exhaust pipes. It wasn't as big of a deal as they looked, but that was the beauty of it. And my buddy at the bike shop says to me, he goes, "You know what? That looks great." And he asked me what I did, and I explained to him how I made them. He says, "Okay." He goes, "Make me the last person that you tell that to." And I said, "Why?" He goes, "Because you're going to go out and you're doing different things." He goes, "And everybody's going to ask you, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you make those pipes?" Because next thing you know, everybody with your style bike is going to have those pipes. And I said, "Wow, okay." Yeah, I said, "Yeah, people do kind of like to do that." And sure enough, I was going to events, and everybody's asking me, "Hey, how do you lower it? Where did those pipes come from? This, that, and the other." And I just played dumb and stupid, like, "Oh yeah, I bought them from a guy. Yeah, whatever." And it worked for a while until one guy who was a friend of a friend had seen the bike, and he was a lot more savvy, and he kind of seen it in person. He was able to figure it out. Next thing you know, his bike had him. I was like, "All right, so now there's two of us," and then it never did really. The more pedestrian version of what I did kind of took off, but not the custom version, and that was close enough. And then I changed them and did something different. I said, "Okay, now they're coming off."
So Keith, you've seen it, right? Like, I'm not going to say I'm completely opposite from that, but right, like, I'm the type of guy where I say it all the time. Anything I can do, somebody else can do it a lot fucking better than me, right? I'm just a guy with a welder. I feel like I'm pretty creative. My first fiberglass spoiler that I made, I posted a folder on Facebook with like 150 some detailed photos of a step-by-step on how to build your own spoiler, right? Like, if you like what I did, here's how I did it. Here's the ingredients. Go make your own pudding. And there was, as far as I was concerned, there wasn't anybody else out there that was willing or able to do it. And Keith, as you know, here comes along my buddy Joe, who sold a Saturn to get an HHR because he had a second kid on the way, and he drove mine when I had a car seat in the back of it, and kind of realized that it was kind of a really good family vehicle for little kids. So he got into HHRs, and everything that I've done on my car, Joe has done a variation on his car in his way, his style, but right? And it by no means is it a competition, right? Like his car, and I tell people all the time, he's got the dopest HHR in the country right now, right? Like mine just so happens to be lower, right? Like my mods are metal, his mods are custom fiberglass, and just crazy scientific ways of putting plastic and shit together. That's, quite frankly, it's beyond me, and I have no desire to do that again just because my fiberglass cracked, and I'd rather just stick with metal.
Yeah, metal. Yeah, metal won't crack like that.
Yeah. So,
Is that HHR? Is that a unibody construction?
it is.
Yeah.
So it's like a front K-member underneath, and then a rear I-beam. So the I-beam on my 2010 SS right now, I modified that rear I-beam, relocated the rear hub plates. Basically had rear hub plates made. A friend of mine sent me a drawing. I had them made, and relocated the hub an inch up, 2 inches, 2 inches up, 1 inch back, and half an inch out, which basically, when I lower the car, that rear wheel is now 2 inches higher up in the wheel well. Lowering the car another 2 inches, that 1 inch further back keeps the wheel centered in the wheel well. When I bagged my first HHR, right, that an I-beam suspension on air ride, right, just the geometry of that, when the car lowers down, that the wheel just goes forward in the wheel well. And it looks awkward. So, and that's kind of my thing, right? Like I'm a stickler for the details. So I just went through the hassle of cutting and welding a bunch of shit.
Yeah, the only modification I'm gonna hate to do this, but is to make it quieter. Because right now I have
hate to do that.
That's nonsense.
I have ZZP exhaust all the way back with the little cat and all that, and I took a 2,000-mile trip, whatever, last weekend, and the whole time, it's just the droning, and then it downshifts. I'm just like, it's just too loud. Or I guess I ripped the whole interior out and dynomat the whole thing. That might be a better plan.
Just get a pair of headphones.
There you go.
But then the kid in the passenger seat, it's too loud. Huh?
Just load them all up with headphones and speakers. When you drive by somebody, they'll be like, "What the f is going on over in that car?"
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I want to be able to talk to. I'll have to get like a set of road mics, put them on there, and put them give them to all the passengers.
Just pretend like you're in a road
NASCAR helmets.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
everybody's riding around in a helicopter.
But yeah, I took that on I went up to Pennsylvania and back, and it's leaking water somewhere. I don't know where, because when I got to started overheating. Well, it didn't overheat. The temperature got hot. Pulled over to the gas station. I go, I have no antifreeze. So I just put water in it. It just kept every gas station. I just put water in it, and I just kept going. So I think it's water pump because I don't see a puddle. Who knows? Not to tear it all apart and figure it out.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like it's a fairly easy vehicle to wrench on. So.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
I mean, we bought my son when for his first car was an HHR. I bought for $300, and it was a wreck. Interior was ruined. The guy couldn't figure out how to get the window up. The window was like half down. He's like, I don't know what to do. I replaced a regulator. I'd read some codes. AC. What happened was the AC was working. It was blowing super. No, it wasn't blowing. So the blower was out. But I could see that the condenser and everything, all the lines were getting cold. It's like, oh, the AC is working. It's just not blowing out. So I said, look, there's no AC. So that's how I got it for $300. And then I just built it up from there. And I think we spent probably $1,500 getting it to where he could drive around. And then he flipped it. But that's a different story.
Yeah, for the SS, in the owner's manual of an SS, it's basically GM required maintenance to do the timing chains.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet.
So that's kind of one of the things too, right? Like if you know what you're buying, you find a high mileage HHR that needs, timing, or you buy an HHR that just needs a motor, and you bought an HHR a couple of years ago and you pulled the motor out of it, and it's like, shit.
Yeah.
Couple mountains out of mouth shit, really.
Yep. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do, the timing chain, water pump, and I'm going to do all that stuff. Change thermostat, because I haven't touched any of that stuff. I've had that car for 6 years, I think. Something like that.
So has anybody else been having trouble with parts, acquiring the correct parts, or getting the wrong parts? Or I've been in like parts hell. I just had to send back.
Well, that's what happened to Lewis.
Yeah, that's
why.
I'm not sure what his last problem was, but I had all that problems with the rag joints, all the Borgs and stuff. Now I ordered that. I found this really cool ABS plastic fan shroud with a 16-inch brushless fan mounted in it from this place called DeWitt's. They're a very good company. And I called them to verify because they showed it on a cross-flow radiator. I have a top and bottom tank. And I talked to the guy, and he says, yeah, it should fit. He goes, it's close enough. Yeah, I think you'll be good. $750, so, and another $350 for the controller. So I ordered it. It came in. And now that I'm waiting for, what am I waiting for? Oh, I had problems with my seat brackets again. I sent them back to actually OPG because they're all fucked up. So I said, okay, let me pull the radiator out of the car and fit this fan. It ain't fitting to the radiator. So I call them back. I called the company. I bought it from Summit. I called them back, and they said, guy says, oh, yeah, it won't fit on that radiator. It's made for a crossflow. I said, well, listen. He goes, yeah, you really got to check that stuff before you order. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I said, I did check. He said, well, who'd you check with? You bought from Summit. I said, I called you guys. I don't know who I talked to. I said, I'm not at my desk. I don't have my notes. I said, but someone on your end told me that it would work because it's considered universal. And I said, I'm telling you that, it's not. So he said, okay, this was yesterday. He says, I'll have to get John, who's our good tech. I'll have him call you in the morning. Okay. Well, John didn't call me, so I called him today and explained the problem. And he says, oh, yeah, well, that's not going to fit. It's, it's not going to work. So, well, I can tell you that. I said, what are we going to do about it? I said, do you have some brackets, something I can facilitate to make this work? Because I really want to use this style fan, and I like the shroud. And he said, yeah, no, I don't think so. He says, we could probably make something like custom to fit. I was like, well, why didn't you guys tell me that the first time? I would have done that the first time. So now it came down to calling Summit again, get a return authorization, print it, go to UPS, send the fan back. Trying to do all of this because I'm leaving in the morning for the South again, and I want to get all this shit off my plate, at least, so everything can be in transit. And I've had nothing but trouble like that recently, and, I don't know. Starting to think it's just me, but that's why I asked if anybody else had the same issues.
No, it's terrible. I mean,
no, just stock parts. Seems easy to get.
Just everything in general. I mean, parts. I mean, my body shop. I mean, I was in the shop yesterday talking to the shop owner, and I was like, man, you guys were that busy? Because the table's filled with parts. I mean, we're talking like one of those, folding opening tables that are like 8.5 feet long.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there, and it's got filled, and he's like, no, those are all the new parts that have to go back because they didn't fit the car.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm tired of this. He says, it is nothing. It's the new way. And of course, I know we're still alive and I have to watch what I'm saying, but this is the business's new way of money laundering because you pay and you give them your cash. They ain't giving you cash back.
I'll tell you right now,
playing around with credits and we'll send you this and we'll send you that. And they go, we have this one that'll fit, but it's $10 more. And you say, okay, it don't fit. I mean, you got so much money tied up.
You know what? You're right.
I'm telling you, it's the new money laundering. It's
now. Summit owes me about $1,000 between the seat brackets, the two rag joints that were $100 a pop, and no, actually it's more. And the fan was $750, so $750, $950. Yeah, it's over. It's probably about $1,100, almost $1,200 now that I've returned. That's
like your that broken tool that you sent back to me. Thank you, Ray. I got it. That's and I know it's only $695. That's my cost. It's $695. And I told him, I said, these things need to be exchanged for value. I send you a broken, you send me a new one. Oh, well, bookkeeping wise and counting and blah, blah, blah. No. I order 15 or 20 of those, in a month. That's, 120, $150 that I put out, and I got to wait 4 or 5 months for a credit.
Yeah.
I said, I'm glad I'm keeping your lights on while my lights are off.
Right.
But it's a new money. It's a criminal. There's no reason for that company to have your money like that.
I wrote them a nice, OPG. I wrote them a nice little letter that I sent in. And I said, hey, you know what? I said, I need you guys. I said, this stuff is wrong. I told them, I talked to the seat manufacturer. I said, they pulled up diagrams and we compared notes about dimensions. I said, the dimensions are wrong. I said, I already had to modify the brackets the first time because of the length of the tubes. I said, I had no problem doing that. I said, but now they don't fit the floor. I said, and I'm looking at the bare floor. I said, it's an unmodified bare floor. So this thing hasn't had panels put in it. No one's done janky, any kind of janky work or anything. It's an original, good floor. I said, and now I can't use the car because I can't put seats in it. So I'd like you to, take care of this ASAP. That probably means they're going to stick it at the bottom of the pile, and maybe next February I'm going to make my own damn brackets.
Brian,
how do you have to anyway?
Repair the fuel tank on my 66 instead of buying a replacement.
What's the matter, Vince? You got to you got to do what?
I've got to repair. I've got a hole in the side of my fuel tank that's probably about half the size of my fist.
Okay.
And
just weld it up.
Well, this thing had gas in this thing since the 70s.
So you would be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure I could weld it up. Plus, I've got a bottom sump and some other stuff. So I was digging around and I found a company who will repair factory tanks, and they'll modify stuff like that. So, but I can go to Mac or one of the other aftermarket suppliers and buy one. Do you think I'm going to? Hell no. Because the tank that come out of that car, once it's fixed, will go right back in it instead of, wait a minute, it doesn't fit and I got to bang it and I got to change the straps and it come out of the car. It's going back in the car once it's repaired.
Yeah. On my 53, I just took dimensions of what the original tank was. I'm like, measured it and looked, and I just bought some replacement eBay tank and put it up there. I was like, oh, all right. And besides the hose rotting away from it sitting for a couple, the thing probably sat for 6 years, and the rubber hose.
Was that another steel tank?
It was a steel tank, yeah.
Is that car still running?
The car still runs, yeah. Well, I don't know. It's been a while. Been a couple months.
I'm sure the ethanol has ate the coating out of that metal tank. So
that ethanol is probably what killed
it. But being carbureted, you can burn it. If I was injected, you'd have all kinds of problems.
I have the LS motor in that thing in my 53. In the Buick.
Oh, well, I'll run on piss.
Yeah,
anyway.
well, I'll tell you this, Vince. The
LS motor
with the number
LS runs on anything.
With the number of aftermarket tanks that I've put into older cars, every single one of them had a problem. On the Chevelle we did at the shop, I had this thing on a screw jack. I almost had to push it through the freaking trunk floor to get the straps on. Now, granted, that car had a ton of metal work, and that may be a part of it. But I've also had that problem on other cars with aftermarket tanks. And yeah, absolutely. If you can have that repaired, without a doubt.
Yeah, the one that was in the Buick was not repairable. It had so many holes in it and rust holes.
In that case, you got to do what you got to do. But
yeah,
if there's a choice,
have you seen my 63?
What, the Oldsmobile?
Yeah. So
I've seen pictures of it. Yeah.
Okay, 2 years ago, my wife and I pulled a 1963 Oldsmobile Super 88 out of a field in northern Wisconsin. Where it had sat for 16 years. Got in touch with the guy, got the car for $1,200. All it needed was a gas tank and brakes, right? Basically brakes from pedal to pad. It needed all of it. Master cylinder, all of it. Got the car for $1,200 with the title, and right, like there was no way I was gonna try and replace that gas tank, right? Like it's a vertical tank that goes up behind the back seat. It's just like absolutely not. Pull that thing out of there, and I ordered a 15-gallon fuel cell on fucking eBay. Right, it was delivered in 4 days. I think it even came with a dent in it. And, right, my buddy bolted it in the car. Right, like he did the brakes, and he had the car for about a year and a half. I got the car back. The first time I drove it during the day was to take my kids, my 2 boys, to the last day of school. This past
cool.
Yeah,
That's cool. Very good.
$1,200, easiest $1,200 I've ever spent.
Yeah, on stuff like that, like a gas tank, you know, as long as it, like on the Mustang and a lot of cars, it's part of the structure or it's part of the floor.
Right.
You know, if it bolts up underneath, I did the same thing with my Audi. You know, when I got that thing running, the gas tank was so bad, and it you know, it was bad. I did the same thing. I just ordered a fuel cell, eBay special. Mine didn't come dented. It was all good, and you know, I made a bracket for it and strap, and then I think I found a hat to go over the top, you know, where you would put fuel in, and it was at the right angle. So all I had to do was cut the filler tank. Yeah, I saw that. Yep. The cut the filler tank. I mean, cut the tank off. I mean, piece off the tank for the filler, and put a hose in between. And I could still use my, you know, I didn't have to open the trunk up, you know, to put fuel in it because it's not part of structurally with that. So I mean, there are ways around it. It's just it's really a shame that so much stuff now is, you know, you have to modify or, you know, make something to make what you paid to work, or you just can't get it. I was really surprised. My buddy's shop, they had a what was that thing? The ugly looking El Camino Avalanche. They had an Avalanche in there, and they couldn't find a brake master cylinder for it.
Wow.
Because they didn't, you know, they called the dealer, none around, and they called a couple parts, and then they finally dug something up, some generic no name, and they're, you know, crossing their finger the whole time trying to put it on. So it's really amazing. Unfortunately, I don't want to go into it, but you know, we voted for this stuff. We had the people in, and they changed the policy about we don't need to keep anything around.
Welcome to
Everything's throwaway. So, you know, they don't. There's no surplus or supply of anything.
Not even that, though.
It's amazing that we can find stuff for a '55 Chevy, but you can't find something for a 2007 F350 or something.
Yeah, I've got a 22 Suburban with the L87 that was just recalled. You want to talk to me about not having parts?
Oh yeah.
What I paid for this fucking Suburban and the parts and the issues that I'm having with it, right?
You might as well
I can guarantee you this is the last new GM vehicle I ever buy.
That's all of them. And you might as well just go right on in there and tell them you want to buy it back, because
it's a massive.
You spend that much money for that pile of shit, and they're still not going to be able to fix it.
Right.
Well, they're going to put a motor in it. Is what they're going to do.
That's why I do the same thing, because the motor is just as shitty that came in that's going back out, or vice versa.
I have two options right now. I either continue driving the truck down the road and wait for it to throw a rod. Then it's going to sit in a local GM dealer parking lot for months, waiting for that new block to get sent. They're going to take all the components off of my motor, put it onto that new block, put it back in my truck, and just keep kicking that rock down the road.
Well, maybe you can grenade it.
So that my other option,
but then they're going to find a way. They'll find a way to pin it on you, Aaron. That's the only problem with this whole fucking system.
Right. My other option is to get the horse in front of the cart and do the Texas Speed and Performance route and go all aftermarket. But then it's like, now I can, now there's no warranty, there's nothing, and it's
right.
Yeah.
But there is
I'm
chop
trying
chop.
to drive this vehicle every day for work,
And they wonder why. Of course, they're trying to get rid of it, but you wonder why you want to go out and find a 25 or even really a 30-year-old car and redo it and never have a problem.
You better off.
We had to understand that 20 years is different for us.
2003 Suburban as well, K2500 with the 8-lug wheels, HD Suburban with 241,000 miles. That truck can pull the stink out of shit. It is more dependable than my 22 Suburban, right? Hands down.
I had a GM tech tell me one time that he wouldn't buy anything newer than a 19, and he goes preferably a 3/4 ton or 1 ton with a 6-liter and a 6L90 transmission. He goes, that's it. He said that was the best engine, transmission. They had all the bugs worked out of it. 19 was the last year you could get that combination.
Yeah, that's when they went to that fuel management system after 19,
all
early 19.
That
19 is the time.
I wouldn't have anything newer than that 19. He says that's it. That's the cutoff. Anything the newer stuff, he says it's all like you're having problems with, Aaron. He says it's all crap.
When I went to the Chrysler dealership that was in my route, and you walk through in the back in the parts department, and they had a wall. The back wall was 45 feet long, and when there is double stacked Hemi crate motors to go back, that's what they put in cars.
That's exactly why. That's why Ram and ProMaster are doing a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty right now, right?
Yeah.
Like they're not doing it to get new customers. They're doing that warranty to maintain their old customers and maintain and retain, right?
And hope that they hit that 101 number and say, "Oh, you missed the oil change,"
right?
Because that's all it takes. They did that. My dad had and this was a while back ago. This was a Volkswagen turbo diesel, and he wiped the cam in it, the lifter valleys. I mean, the lifter cups wiped out, and the guy said, "Oh," and it was in warranty still. And I had told my dad, I said, "You make sure you get ready," but I said they're going to pull this on you, and when they finally come to terms and they start, you tell them you want a new turbo, because that turbo is filled with metal. And you want to tell them you want a new turbo because it's just going to eat the new motor up. And so the first word out of the guy is, "Oh yeah, I see. You got you have a wiped out motor. You need a long block." Well, unfortunately, because there's no record of oil changes, you're covered. This is not warranted. And my dad said, he laid it on the desk. He said, "Every service has been done by you." Oh. And they said, "Oh, well, we need to double check this." And of course, his records are now missing. And he goes, "Well, here's my copy." And so they beat around the bush. They put a motor in, and he goes, "You got to put a turbo on it?" And then he goes, No. There's nothing wrong with your turbo. Because it's filled with oil. I mean, it's filled from oil from the old motor, which is filled with metal. So either you replace the turbo, or I'm not picking the car up. And they went round and round, didn't put a turbo on. So my dad got in the car, drove it right around to the front, and the guy comes out and says, "Hey, what are you going to do today?" He goes, "I'd like to trade this car in, and I'll take that one over there." And I know the cooler, the cooler and the turbo was filled with metal. And like I said, they just, like you said, kicking that can down the road, trying to retain that person. And as soon as you hit that one moment, they're going to nail you because you didn't do something. And they're building nothing but garbage.
Yeah.
Nothing but garbage.
They had that same setup in the heavy duty world, Ray, Freightliner, a couple years, or I should say, Detroit Diesel is owned by Freightliner, and someone in their design engineer program decided, you know what, we're going to take all of the crap that's involved with regen, emissions, all this crap for these diesel engines, and we're going to put it in one location, aka a one box. You got a pipe in, a pipe out, sensors where they plug in, and it's welded closed.
Oh, great.
So you can't mess with it. When one of those one boxes dies, it's 13 grand across the counter.
Wow.
Right about the time when if you remember when I was on the road, right before the Chinese flu, I got stuck in Vegas, Freightliner of Vegas. They were doing some work on the truck. They had a backlot that was slap full of trucks. You know what they were waiting on? Emissions controls, emission modules, and one boxes. They were double stacked, like you said, front nose to back, full of tractors, brand new. They're all under warranty. And the problem, what they did with their software on those is you could drive it so far and it would derate. And if you kept driving, it would go into limp mode. And then it would not come out of limp mode.
I haven't had my tool truck in 2 weeks.
Oh, yours is acting up too?
Mine's gone. I don't have it.
What have you been doing?
Walking the streets, showing a lot of leg. Hopefully,
pushing a shopping cart. Is that what you?
I went down to the Home Depot and hired 27 helpers and hooked them up to the front. I look like Santa on the sleigh.
Yo,
we gotta get off. I can't be live anymore. But no, that's I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for a computer.
That's good. You know what? We're going to end the live stream. So for Lewis Lee, Ray Guarino, all the boys. Next week, I'm not going to be. Well, maybe I'm going to be down south. If I can log in, if the Airbnb has good Wi-Fi, I'll log in. If not, you'll see me in 2 weeks. And goodbye.